Hello, everyone. Happy New Year. It's January 1st, 2026. And I asked y'all to ask me some questions because it's been a little while since we've done a Q&A. And I'm going to read some of those questions and I'm going to answer most of them, but I'm going to read all of them. All right. And answer probably 99% of them. Starting off with William Hunt, who writes me on my backup channel, which is YouTube is my whore, no wiki, in case you were wondering. He asked me four questions. First question: how can you make/earn money to live by, and can and will you continue to do this into quote retirement? Will or William, whichever you prefer. This is a question I'm afraid I'm not going to answer. I'm super paranoid about stuff like this because I know that even though I'm not anybody that anybody really cares about, I still know that there are people out there who know, who if you type my name into a search engine, the ADL article comes up. And they would just like nothing better than to see to it that I have no access to money, and so I'm just not going to I'm not going to give any. I'm going to be my lips are sealed about this particular topic. Number two, on the topic of working, would you advise young people to do what they are passionate about, regardless of pay, or go for the money/career? Well, I'm only answering this because you asked. I wouldn't just normally go out and give people advice, but since you're asking for advice, I would say try to find something that's a viable day-to-day job that does not make you want to die at the end of the day. So don't do teaching. don't try to teach high school like I did, unless you're that special kind of person who doesn't get aggravated under hellish conditions. Find a job that doesn't that's relatively harmless. You don't have to love it. You just you just have to not hate it. And while you're doing that, on the side, I would say do what you're passionate about. If you're pursuing art of some kind, that would be my advice. My other advice would be independently wealthy, or marry someone who's wealthy, but only do the latter if it's out of love, or if you have an arrangement with this person where you understand. but even that, no, scratch that last one. Don't just marry someone for their money, even though it's tempting. Number third question, William asks, do you think that you are living in a state of self-curated numbness as a means to persist? And this has something to do with the lack of belief or buy-in to any /past established ideologies. Wow. You peered deeply into my soul there, William. And I feel like I'm standing naked before you now. And I'm just a bit embarrassed about that. Yes. The short answer is yes. And yeah, I don't know if I want to give a. I mean, I think I know what you're asking, and if you're asking what I think you're asking, then the answer is yes. Number four: is the world population in fact less than half of the official eight something million billion? I've heard about this before, and I mean, I don't have any way of knowing, obviously. Um, why would they? I guess the question comes up: why would they lie to us about that? Is it to make us feel like, oh my gosh, we're so overpopulated, we need to have fewer children? Is that if that's the idea? If it's a psyop, uh, and that's what's motivating it. I don't think that I don't think it's working because I haven't known a single person who has refrained from having children because the world's just too overpopulated. I mean, I think people who say that, uh, I don't believe them. I don't believe that's the reason why they aren't having children. So, um, so I don't. I mean, I'm open to the. I don't know what the world population is. I'm open to the certainly open to the idea that we're being lied to, but if that's the lie that they're telling us to try to get us to have fewer children, I don't think that I don't think it worked. It's too abstract, you know. Um, it's like it's maybe a way to preen and um, virtue signal. Uh, if you're not having children for other reasons because you don't want them, um, or maybe because you haven't been able to find somebody to marry. Um, but I don't think that would work if that's what you're asking. But you're not officially asking that. You just want to know if the world population is in fact less than half. It sounds like that's what you believe, um, and you may be right. But I don't know. I have no way of knowing, of course. Neither do any of us. Uh, but they could be lying. They lie to us about just about everything else. So yeah, I'm open to that possibility. Okay, so back to the questions on my main page. Scott Terry asks, Andy, have you ever thought of writing a stage play, or less interesting, a screenplay? Um, I have written a stage play in the past, or like a part of one, or something. I think um, because this is going back to my college days, but there was this um, thing that was done at the end of the year where you could put on your own play and bring in actors uh, and stuff, or bring in people to play the roles and read your lines and direct. You can direct them, and it was called the Linnea. That was what the event was called. And I, being the person that I am, uh, didn't take the cue that this was supposed to be. This was kind of supposed to be a lighthearted thing. I just thought, oh, you get to write your own play, and then you get to act it out, and but apparently the unwritten rule was that you were supposed to be funny and lighthearted, and I don't know, and I wasn't. You're making me remember something very embarrassing right now. Yeah, um, I, I wrote something not only not non lighthearted, but something that's that's about as cringy as you can possibly get. I mean, I totally put myself out there, um, and it was it was received with um, with a lot of cringes from the audience. Um, this is before cringe was even talked about. This is before people talked about cringe. This was 1990 or so. You know, cringe existed, but you didn't call it cringe. You called it something else. There were other ways of describing it. But yes, that was the last time I wrote a stage play, and I have not written a screenplay. I have no interest in it. I feel like it would be a dead end. The only way I would do it if I were solicited to do it, and the only way I would write a stage play is if I had the possibility of putting it on. Now I'm remembering something though. There was a version of Morning in America, which is a short story that I've written that was part of the Lost Violent Souls collection. And I did convert that into a play. It's actually written as a short story, but even as a short story, it's when you read it, it has stage directions and everything. So the conceit is that it's a short story, but it's written like a play. And I actually was successfully able to have to witness a staging of it. It was directed by somebody else. I had no control over the direction of it. Once again, it was a college that was involved, but this was later on when I was a college instructor. And it actually turned out really well, and I was really, really pleased with it. So that's the happy ending. But I wouldn't write another one unless it was a situation where there was I was being solicited to do it. Otherwise, it'd be a waste of time. And then Scott goes on to write, I'd love to participate in the first production of The Importance of Being Low Status, Meet Me in St. Nile, or A Streetcar Named Wanker. Well, thanks. I'll keep you in mind, Scott. And you are definitely up there among the ones I would cast if I were to write any of those plays that you mentioned. Related, are you familiar with Bill Hader's HBO series Barry, where Hader plays a hitman who discovers acting? It has interesting philosophical dilemmas and seems marginally deeper than typical Hollywood fare, although Barry, despite being a brutal ex-Marine hitman, does tend to simp for the female lead of the series. My daughter loved that show. She loved that show. And thought that Bill Hader was just, the greatest thing since sliced bread. She I think had a tiny bit of a crush on him. But I never really watched it. I saw. I sort of saw it in the background and sometimes listen to my daughter talk about it. And this was a few years ago. Interesting that you mentioned Bill Hader. Of course, his name came up with regard to the Rob and Michelle Reiner tragedy, because he was one of the people that Nick Reiner was apparently badgering at Conan O'Brien's party, asking him what his name was and if he was famous. And he said something like, "Excuse me, I'm talking to my friends here." So it's just interesting that his name comes up again. It's one of those things. Scott also asks, and not a question, but I demand more stand-up comedy. Well, Scott, I would give it to you. I don't think I can. I don't think I could manage to go back to the place where I'd been uh, doing the one doing the open mic one open mic stand up stuff. Just not only because it was of how it ended, but it was just kind of a shit uh, uh, sort of setup. Um, I mean, I don't know how many of those videos you saw, and I kept doing it week after week after week because I guess it was something interesting for me to do, um, and the idea was to get out of my head a little bit more and to perform more because I enjoy performing. um, but there were always people like the bulk of this place, this bar. It's if you ever come to Savannah, it's called the Totally Awesome Bar, and it's just as totally awesome as the name would make it sound. Um, uh, and like so half of the place is like a pool hall, and while people are doing their stand up acts, like there's a ton of people over in the pool hall who are just chatting away. And I'm sure some of y'all noticed this. They were just they showed no respect for the people who were up there getting on the microphone, doing their routines. They just were, and uh, nothing was being done about them. But I don't know what can you do. I mean, you can't kick them out. Um, I guess you can't. You can't just. I guess you could. I mean, they kicked me out for saying nigga in my as a part of my comedy act, but they didn't kick any of the disruptive people, drunken people in the pool hall out. So it's just how it goes. I don't think I'd want to go back to that place. The MC would always start off his show by saying, "All right, guys, gals, and non-binary pals." That was his tagline. I mean that's setting the tone for this place. Hey, guys, gals, and non-binary pals. You know, need I say more? But if there's another place that I can go to and do open mic and I get the desire to, and I have something in mind, then I'll do it. I'll do it. It was fun in the sense of just not thinking, oh, I'm going to knock them dead. Uh, but like this is an idea that I'm willing to try that I find funny, and it's okay if it totally bombs. That's okay. What I did find out by doing that, doing that stand up stuff, is that I'm not afraid of bombing at all. Uh, it just doesn't bother me. In fact, that there's something really really amusing about bombing. Um, so there you go. Uh, so yeah, yes, I and Scott writes, I want to attend my important Eyes Wide Shut party with all the cool people in the distant right, and that's where I was last night. I only seem to be at the street. A nearly 55-year-old dork going to the Stranger Things uh, final episode theatrical release. But right after that, I went to the Eyes Wide Shut dissident right party, and much debauchery ensued. And only now am I starting to recover from it all. Andy Douglas Garrison writes, Andy, not really a question, but a suggestion. Um, Love those. Oh no, I'm kidding. Just busting your balls there. Uh, if you have time, can you do a review of Holobuch I don't know how to say his name. Holobich's latest book, Annihilation. I'm just going through it myself right now. Would love your thoughts. I would love to read Holobich's latest book, Annihilation, and if it's been translated into English, then I will. I remember his book Submission from a few years ago about Islamic takeover of France. It's interesting, this Holobach. And I know I'm not saying his name right. I'm butchering his name, but in my defense, look at his name. How in the hell do you pronounce that name? It's it's kind of wild that he's been allowed to be to be out there at all. Much less writing on the kind of themes that he writes about, and yet there he is. So yeah, I'll give Annihilation a read. Justin Fisher asks, what novelists influenced your literary style? I don't know why I had so much trouble saying that. It was a fairly simple question. I've been asked this before, and I would say that Dostoevsky looms large for me. And it's kind of a little strange because I find it hard to complete a Dostoevsky book. There are some that I've finished, but there are many that I have not. There are many that I have left unfinished. You'd think that since he was such a big influence, that I would just, have no trouble just gobbling it all down. But the truth is that he's a lot. He writes really long books, and so you have to make a choice to stay with it to the end. My favorite thing of his is a short story. A short story of his called "The Dream of a Ridiculous Man." I can't recommend this story too highly. It's fantastic, and it's very, very influential. That and the Notes from Underground are the two most influential works of his on me and on my work. Well, I'm going to stop there. There are a few more questions, but I'm going to hold off on answering those. And if anyone else wants to, if you were inspired by my inspiring answers to the questions so far, and you want to ask me something, below this video, then you may, and I will be back with the answers to the rest of your questions soon.